Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Back he got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it. Yo, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, y'all know what time it is when y'all see me. It is Chilltown Hoops in effect. And I got a real interesting conversation going on tonight because I saw something. I'm not a big fan, right? I'm not a huge fan of the Jordan James debate because I feel like everything that needs to be said has already been said about it. I don't think that there's anything that hasn't been said that can be said already about this. I think this is something that has basically over the last couple of years has just been beaten into the ground, right? But from time to time, right? From time to time, there's stuff that comes across my feed, and I think it's really interesting. And I will indulge in it. So I'm a huge fan of longevity. You know, I care about people who've done something awesome for a long period of time. I care about that. There are people who don't, but I care about doing something great for a long period of time. 100% I do. And because of that, I think about this topic right here. And when I think about when I think about what Jordan did, and I think about what James did, you know, the question is asked is, well, what's more impressive? A guy leading the league in scoring 10 times or a guy scoring 40,000 points? Now, both of these feats, these are how many guys in NBA history have done that. These right here, right? These are how many guys have led the league in scoring 10 times. These are how many guys who scored 40,000 points in NBA history, right? So both of these feats are astronomical. And when I think about what Jordan did, so him leading the league in scoring 7 straight years from 1986-87 to the 92-93 season. 7 straight years he led the league in scoring. That hadn't been done since Chamberlain did it 25 years ago. 25 years before that. There's only one guy who had done that before he did it. That's Chamberlain. And when he's doing it, like he's outscoring, like in the 86-87 season, when he's averaging 37 a game, Neek was the next closest guy to him. And he had an 8-point gap on him. 8 points. Now, when I think about the other scoring leaders in NBA history, like how many guys have had that kind of gap on another guy? I mean, Chamberlain, when he did it, you know, when he averaged 50 a game, was the scoring gap that wide? Well, like a lot of people don't talk about it, but you know, Elgin Baylor averaged 38 a game that year. But that's still 12 points. That's still 12 points, even though Elgin Baylor averaged 38 a game that year. That's almost 40 a game. That's still a 12-point gap, right? That's a huge gap still. When Jabbar, I think it was his second year, I think he averaged 34 a game. That's the year they won the NBA championship. He led the league in scoring that year. These are the gaps that I'm talking about, right? So when Jordan is leading the league in scoring in 86-87, 29 a game for Neek, that's an 8-point gap. Then he does it again the next year when he's averaging 35 a game. Neek is averaging 31. I mean, these 3-4 points, that's a huge gap. A huge gap. So to do that for 7 straight years, and the gap started to close as we got closer to him retiring the first time. I said he quit, but like some people don't appreciate that. But I mean, it is what it is. He quit. He didn't want to play no more. So people quit jobs every day. That doesn't make them any less than who they are. People quit jobs every day, and they quit jobs not because they can't hack it, but no, I don't want to do this no more. So what? I don't want to do this job anymore, and that happens. So when he got closer to that, I mean, the gap started to close because Malone's coming in second. You know, Jordan's averaging 31, Malone's averaging 29, Jordan's averaging 32. You know, Malone's averaging 28. Excuse me. So stuff like that is going on. And for him to quit and then for 18 months, he's gone. And then to get himself back in shape, right? And then for him to get himself back in shape, basketball shape, and come back and lead the league in scoring 3 more years. That's pretty phenomenal, man. That to average 28, 29, 30 a game, and to do that 10 times, that is incredible. That is fantastic. I don't know, and not only is that incredible, that's a big deal to be able to do that for a decade, for 10 times. I did that for 10 seasons. Now, did he do it 10 straight years? That's where the divide is right there. Because when I think about longevity, I think about what James did. And I think about the fact that when I showed up, from the moment I showed up, 25 a game. From the day I showed up, I'm 25 a night. And I did that until today. This November, next month, I will have stepped on the basketball court as a professional for the first time 21 years ago. Next month, I will have stepped on the basketball court for the first time 21 years ago. And I'm still playing at that level today. I take pretty good care of myself. You know, I eat right. I exercise. You know, I get enough sleep. I'm not going to be around forever. I'm not. And I don't think that I'm going to be around to see another guy do what he did. I don't think that I'm going to be around to see something like that. I saw Kevin Durant lead the league in scoring 4 straight years. He did do that, like George Gervin did. And if he wanted to, I'm not going to say if he wanted to, because what I'm doing is I'm lessening it, and I don't want to lessen it. No, I don't. Could Kevin Durant have done that? Maybe. It's possible. But I did see somebody where it looked like he was on his way to doing something like that. But to have that level of greatness and to do it for that long, at that rate, even the all-time greats, they slowed down as scorers. Jabbar averaged 10 a game his last season in the league. He was 42. He averaged 10 points. Jordan, at 40 years old, he averaged 20 a game. And this is a guy who had been out of the league for 3.5 years, came back, had a bad knee, got surgery, and came back the next year and averaged 20 a game. He did do that. A lot of these guys who, when they start to, not when they start, but a lot of these guys, when they get to the end of the line, you can see the decline. That's what makes them human. And that's why we love them, because we got to see the ascension, we got to see the cruise, and we got to see the decline. We got to see all of it. And there are some guys we didn't get to see that. Those are the what-if guys. But in this particular situation, James has changed the rules. And he's changed the criteria on what a peak is, what a prime is, how long you can do it. Because, one, he's taking care of his body so well that he's able to withstand this. And I have to make this clear. James isn't what he used to be. If you watch him today, he's not the athlete that he used to be. He doesn't run as fast as he did just 5 years ago. I'm not even talking about James in 2008, 2009. No, I ain't talking about that guy who would look like he was on fast forward and everybody was in slow motion. I ain't talking about that dude. No. I'm just talking about the guy from just 5 years ago. He doesn't run as fast or jump as high as that dude. And the reason why is because he's aged. And that's what happens when you get older. I can't do what I used to be able to do at the level that I used to be able to do it. Right? I can't do what I used to be able to do at the level that I used to be able to do it, even though I'm still elite. I can't do it like I did in 2019, 2020. I can't do it like I did in I can't do it like I did in 2017 because I'm older. But I feel like that's a testament to who James is and everything that he's done at this point, considering he's still around. He'll be 40 years old in December. He'll be 40 years old in December. And here's a guy who I'm having a difficult time seeing him average less than like 23 a game. I'm still having a difficult time seeing him average that. He still looks to me like he can still do that. I saw Jordan when he started slowing down. You know, his flight and athleticism had waned and he wasn't as fast as he used to be. But Jordan was so smart that he could still get you 20. He could still do that. But he was also that guy who I'm having a difficult time with him still hanging around off the strength that I just want to play. Nah, that wasn't Jay's game. He couldn't see because he knew that there were guys who, when I was playing, when I was who I used to be, you couldn't do anything with me. And now that I'm slower, I don't have what I used to have, so I got to step off. James is still playing at that level, right? James is still playing at that level. And because he's still playing at that level, it's hard to walk away. It is hard to walk away when I can still do it somewhat like I used to be able to. I can still do it like that. So when I think about what James has done, 40,000 points in 21 seasons, 40,000 points. I'm thinking to myself, and actually in 20 seasons, the 03-04 season, that was his first season. And last year, 21 years. I think I think that he's getting to a point this year where he's going to put that scoring record. I think it's going to be out of reach. And the reason why I give the edge to James in this particular situation, off the strength that there was no drop off. I did this for 20 years straight. I did this for 20 straight years. There was no gap. Not only was there not a gap, there was no, my game fell off. No, I didn't leave the game. My game didn't fall off. I had some mishaps, sure. I had some stretches where I wasn't as good in the postseason. But when we're talking about just accumulating what he did with 40,000 points, I was able to sustain that level of a scorer for over 20 years. And I got better as time went on. That's why he's redefining what a prime is, what a peak is, what a prime is, what a peak is, how long that peak is, how long that prime is, even though he's not what he used to be. And if you watched him and you remember anything about him, you could see that he's clearly not what he was 5 years ago. He doesn't run as fast. He can still get downhill. No doubt about that. He can still get downhill. He doesn't jump as high, but he can still dunk it. Yes, he can still dunk it. You know, I'm not as sharp as I was, but I'm still better than 95% of you dudes. Still. Now, when I say that, is that a knock on the league, or is that just him being that good? You know, I hear people telling me a lot of times. You know, if Jordan played this long, but he didn't. Just like, you know, if James had this, James didn't have that. He did lose in the NBA championship. He did lose in the finals. Whether he could have had this guy or that guy, the reality is he didn't have that. That's the reality of it. So because that's the reality of it, I have to stick with that. That's what's going on right now. Right? I have to stick with that. So if I'm thinking about what is more impressive, it's the guy scoring 40,000 points and sustaining that level, that elite level of scoring for as long as he did. That's not to dismiss leading the league in scoring 10 times. And not only leading the league in scoring 10 times, the gap that there was when he was leading the league in scoring. I will never argue that, because when he was doing it, it wasn't a question. When I'm thinking about when he was doing it, there wasn't a question of who was the best scorer in the game. Even though Jabbar was still running around, wasn't nobody like Jordan. And Dominique Wilkins was my favorite player, but wasn't nobody like Jay. None of y'all dudes. And we all knew it. And he did that without shooting the long ball on a consistent basis. He didn't bring the long ball into his game until later on in his career. It wasn't like he was shooting the long ball right from the beginning. No, he wasn't. I mean, Jordan's averaging 37 a game, and he's not even taking a three a game. He's not even taking a three a game. And he's and he's averaging 37 a game. And how is he getting 37? Because I'm a ridiculous athlete. I got a money. I can knock down the mid range with the best of them, and I'm still not even at my best in the mid range, but I can knock down the mid range with the best of them. I can finish at the rim with the best of them. I play above the rim, unlike anybody else. There aren't many guys who play above the rim like me. There are not many guys who finish at the rim in a big man league like me. And there are not many guys who can sustain one contact, get back up, and keep playing. There's not many who do that. But he is. He was one of those guys that played through contact, that was able to sustain being an elite scorer in a big man league. That's a big deal, man. That is a huge deal. But then when I think of the discrepancy that I have is the fact that Jordan, there was that 18-month gap. There was no gap with James. I did this from the minute I walked in the door till today, and I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it today. Still. Peace, God. I'm still doing it today. When I think about other guys who've played for 20 years, right? When I think about guys who have played that long, you saw the drop off. I saw the drop off with Jabbar. I saw the drop off with Bryant. I'm talking about guys who played 20 years. Cliff Robinson, Robert Parrish. Right? I saw the drop off with those guys. I saw those guys go the other way. Vince Carter. There was not a huge drop off with James. I'm still arguably a top 5 player in the game. Still, to this day. There aren't many guys better than me to this day. I'm still better than 95% of you dudes. I can't say that, right? I can't say that about Vince Carter. I can't. I cannot say that about Vince Carter. I can, right? I can say that about James. I can't say that about Jabbar. I mean, Jabbar wasn't Jabbar in 88. He still had the sky hook. 87. He still had the sky hook. But was he Jabbar? No. I mean, James Worthy, right? James Worthy thought that he was better than Jabbar when they won a championship in 88. going into the 87-88 season. He thought he was better. So I could see the drop off. Right? I could see the drop off when that happened. And I can't say that I seen that much of a drop off. BD Smith says, open a panel so we can debate this, sir. Absolutely. I will open the panel. Sure. 100% I will. This is not just me talking. 100%. I will open the panel so we can have a discussion about this. 100%. So, like this dude right here, Brian Green, who says James doesn't play both ends. You clearly don't watch basketball. I think that you're here just to be a contrarian. I think that you're here just to talk or just to hear yourself talk. Because if you're being honest, you don't believe that. You don't. But I gotta remember, this is why I have a difficult time talking about James and Jordan, because it's like the Protestants and the Palestinians. Once you pick a side, that's it. Once you pick a side, there's no going back. And there's no talking to these other people. None whatsoever. There's no talking to them. Hey, Baba, read the room, brother. Read the room, my man. Please do me a favor, Baba. Read the room. What are we doing in here right now? What are we talking about? Read the room, my man. Can you please do me a favor and read the room? That's all I'm asking you to do, my man. Read the room. Anyway, it's very much like once these guys, it's not a cult. I won't go as far as to say it's a cult. No, I won't do that. But what I will say is once you pick a side, right? Once you pick a side, that's it. Now, again, I was swayed, and it took a long time for me to come to that side. It took a long time for me to come to that side. But once I did, there was no turning back, because I already knew what it was with James. At that point, I had already known what it was. I did. Right? I already knew what it was. Marcus, that's not the point, Marcus. The point is when you're in class and you're paying attention, you don't change the subject when a teacher is showing you something. It's called respect. And if you can't have it, then you shouldn't be here. That's the point. Damn, he just asked a question. Go ask questions somewhere else. As I was saying. So what Jordan did, that was dope. That was dope, BD. I did enjoy that. 100% I did, to talk to Tim Hardaway. What Jordan did, I doubt I'm going to see that again in my lifetime. I'm not sure that I'm going to see that again in my lifetime. See a guy lead the league in scoring 10 times. I don't. But I'm more confident. I'm more confident that I'm not going to see a guy score over 40,000 points again in my lifetime. I don't think that that's going to happen. As much as I don't think that I'm going to see a guy average 30 a game 10 times, I'm more confident that I'm not going to see a guy average 27 a game for 20 years. I'm not going to see that again in my life. I'm 100% confident in that. So, well, excuse me. But as much as I'm not confident that I'm not going to see that again, I'm extremely happy that I was able to be around to see that. Because it wasn't a question at the time who the best scorer was in the game. It was Jordan. And again, Dominique Wilkins is my favorite player. And to watch Jordan grow as a player, and to watch him grow as a scorer, to see him be better in the mid-range, to see him put a post game in his game, to see his weak hand get better, to see him be able to finish around the rim differently as opposed to when he first showed up, to see his game grow, oh, that was a big deal. And then it was just a matter of, when are they going to win? When is he going to win? Because he's going to do it. That's going to happen. There's no question in my mind whether or not that's going to happen, because that's going to happen. No doubt about it, that's going to happen. It's just a matter of, when is it going to happen? Right? When is this going to happen? So to watch him turn into the player that he turned into, the bucket getter that he was, and see how different his game was and how he expanded his game. Not only how he expanded his game on the perimeter, but in the post. And when he started to slow down and he wasn't Air Jordan anymore, and then he moved his game to the block, and how much better he was on the box and in the mid-range because he was a lot smarter. And it looked to me like it was a guy who just knew what he was doing, and he was a step ahead of everybody else. He was 100% a step ahead of everybody else. And because he was a step ahead of everybody else, as a scorer, that made him better than everybody else as a bucket getter. It wasn't a question. But then I watched James when he shows up at, just so you know, a month from now, he's an 18-year-old kid stepping on the floor. 18. That's what he is. 18 years old stepping on the court, right? 18 years old stepping on the court. And by the way, this during this time in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 2003, this is still a grown-up league. There's very little kids running. There's very few kids running around. We did have an influx of high school guys and some guys who played a year or two in college. But for the most part, we had grown-ups. And for this kid, this 18-year-old kid, to show up how he did and establish himself as a franchise player right from the beginning, that's almost impossible. Almost impossible. See, in today's game, the league is so much younger. It's a lot younger. And because it's as young as it is, it's not ridiculous to think that an 18, 19-year-old can't come in and dominate. Back then, in the early 2000s, when Duncan, and Shaq, and Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, Kevin Garnett, these guys are running around. This is an adult league. Manu Ginobili. Guys like that are running around. And for an 18-year-old to come in and establish themselves right from the beginning, right? Establish themselves right from the beginning and continue that for the duration of his career, even to this day. I don't think that I'm going to see anything like that again in my lifetime. I doubt it. Can it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Yes. I just don't think I'm going to be around to see it. That's all. I do think that it's going to happen again. I'm 100% confident that there's going to be a guy who's going to lead the league in scoring a bunch of times. I just don't think I'm going to be around to see it. I think that there's going to be a guy, just like when, we had a guy throw for 50,000 yards. Is there going to be another guy who throws for 50,000 yards? Yes. We had a guy throw for 80,000 yards, but I'm sure that guy who saw somebody throw for 50,000 yards was like, I don't think I'm going to be around to see a guy throw for 70,000 yards. Hell no. Hell no. I don't think I'm going to see that. And for James to establish himself from the beginning, right? For him to establish himself from the beginning, and not just establish himself from the beginning and sustain that and change with the times, right? And change with the times where, okay, the game is moving further away from the basket. Guys are shooting the long ball. I got to put this in my game. Otherwise, I'm not going to last long. I'm not going to last long. And if that's true, right? If that's true, that's a testament to his game. A testament to his game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this really quickly because do we have some breaking news? Let's find out if we really have some breaking news, right? Let's find out if we have a troll in the house or do we have some breaking news? I'm just wondering, because if we have some breaking news, This is a big deal. Because I haven't heard anything. Right? And I'm the guy, right? I'm the guy who and Woj is gone. So I gotta hear it. I gotta find another reliable source. Yeah, I gotta find another reliable source. Because if I don't hear it because if I didn't hear it from Woj, it wasn't official for me. But anyway, I say that to say both of those things are ridiculously impressive. I just think that the gap of 18 months with Jordan, I think that's the separator, which would explain why I feel like what James did and sustaining that for as long as he did, I think it's more impressive. I do. Now, I know that there's some people who, are Jordan guys. And I take no issue with that whatsoever because I was a Jordan guy. And you couldn't talk me off that ledge for a long time, right? You couldn't talk me off that ledge for a long time. And because you couldn't talk me off that ledge, I kind of didn't even, I didn't interest myself in any logic. But as I started to watch, right? As I started to watch, it became more apparent that was going on. So I think that the 40,000 is more impressive. What up?
Mr. Chill, how are you doing today, sir?
Brother?
Thank you for letting me on your panel. I agree and disagree with you at the same time. I'm not knocking that LeBron James isn't a great player. He is. Sure. I'm not knocking that Michael Jordan isn't a great player. He is.
Sure.
But there are 4 major sports in the United States. You have football, you have basketball, you have baseball, and you have hockey.
Correct.
And out of those 4 major sports, there's only one sport that has a certifiable GOAT, and that's hockey. Mm. Wayne Gretzky is the GOAT of hockey, and there is no debate about that. It's Wayne Gretzky, and that's it. In basketball,
and it's a gap too, by the way. Like it's Wayne Gretzky,
right? It's Wayne Gretzky, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My point being, in basketball, there are 8 different guys I could make a GOAT case for, a certifiable GOAT case for. LeBron being one of them, Jordan being one of them, Duncan being one of them, Wilt Chamberlain being one of them, Bill Russell being one of them, Magic, Bird, Kareem. There's too many people I could make a GOAT case for to say that there is a GOAT in basketball.
Can't you make a GOAT case? Can I make a GOAT case for? I can make a GOAT case for Gordie Howe. I can make a GOAT. I can make a GOAT case for Martin Brodeur. I can make a GOAT case in hockey. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that Wayne Gretzky isn't the GOAT. I can still make a GOAT case for these other guys, though.
Okay, well, Gretzky is far superior than Gordie. Gordie Howe had nowhere near the assists or points that Gretzky had. All he had is the goals. Mm-hmm. Wayne Gretzky got 2,000 total points. Sure. In an era where hockey was defensive, where you didn't have the space on the ice to score like how Gretzky was scoring. The man almost scored 100 goals in the season. He scored 96 goals in 80 games.
Didn't he win MVP his rookie year?
And he won MVP in his rookie year. The man almost had 200 points in the season. Mm-hmm. He had 196 points in a season, which is unheard of.
That's 2 goals a game. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's unheard of. Gordie Howe never came close to that. And Gordie Howe, as great as he was, I'm not saying he wasn't great. He scored 800 goals, but he played 24 years too.
Mm-hmm. Now that right there, but that right there, I like to think that matters. Considering how
longevity matters.
100%.
You look at Kareem.
How physical hockey is, not only how physical hockey is, the skill set that you have to play hockey. I always thought that hockey was basketball on ice. I always felt like it was that. I always felt like that. The way the puck moved, the way the guys moved, I always felt like it was basketball on ice. I kind of kept it to myself, being from a predominantly black neighborhood, because I thought the hockey was a white boy sport. I always dug hockey. I did.
I watched hockey as a black man, and a lot of my friends didn't know who any of these people was, because a lot of them are European and have weird names that can't no average black person pronounce. To be fair, You
Sure.
understand what I'm saying? There's not a lot of American-born hockey players like that.
Yeah.
Gretzky's not American-born; he's Canadian.
Yes, he
So,
is.
like, but my point being, the GOAT means greatest of all time.
Best to
And
ever do it.
if you're the greatest of all, GOAT is an acronym, greatest of all time. And if you're
Best
the
to ever
greatest
do it.
of all time, you can't debate that. You understand what I'm saying? It's either you're the greatest or you're not. Like Simone Biles is the greatest gymnast of all time, and there is no debate. Michael Phelps is the greatest swimmer of all time. There is no debate. Usain Bolt is the greatest sprinter of all time. There is no debate.
I can
That I could
make a case.
debate
I can make a
the
case for Carl
basketball
Lewis.
GOAT.
I mean, I can make a case for Carl Lewis, but then it won't be much of a case. But I can make a case for Carl Lewis.
That's my thing. It won't be much of a case.
I can make a case for Tyson Gay, but he never beat Usain Bolt. Never, not one time. Not once did he beat. So
no,
I mean,
I'm just saying my GOAT definition is a very singular one, meaning if you're the greatest of all time, you can't debate that. It's either you are or you not. Like, not to switch subjects on you like football. People always say, oh, Tom Brady's the GOAT. But in my opinion, I don't even think he's the greatest quarterback. Give me Montana for my money. You understand what I'm saying? And if we want to talk that, in my opinion, I think Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player of all time.
You could make that case. You could definitely make that case.
But you could debate it, is what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? Because you got Jerry Rice, you got Jim Brown, you have Tom Brady. You could have a debate on who's the greatest. And in my opinion, you can't debate a GOAT. You understand what I'm saying? You can't debate it. Either you are or you not.
It depends on what your criteria is when we're talking about the GOAT. Who's the best to ever do it? Now, what do you value? What do you care about? What matters to you? What is your criteria when we're talking about the best to ever do it? Now, you brought up Wayne Gretzky. I mean, Wayne Gretzky, I feel like, when you're talking about Wayne Gretzky, what's your criteria when you're talking about a hockey player? Now, Wayne Gretzky had a lot of goons to protect him. He wasn't much of a physical guy, but he did handle himself, right? In the process of him handling himself, he was the best goal scorer in hockey history. There was nobody who could stay in front of him when he had the puck in the open ice. Nobody.
Right. He's the best facilitator too. Let's not leave that out.
Right. But I can also use that same logic with my man that played in Pittsburgh, LaFleur.
Mario Lemieux or Jaromir Jagr.
Not Jagr, Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux was fantastic with the puck. He wasn't good with it. He was fantastic with the puck. And he was great. And he was great around the net. He was fantastic with the puck. But I don't think he was Gretzky good. But he was an all-time great. No doubt about that. I won't argue that. When I think about the criteria of the GOAT, I mean, what do you value? What makes you the best to ever do it? Is it winning? How long did you dominate? Does your game travel? How impactful is your game? It's things like that. My criteria may be a little bit different than yours, which would explain why when we're talking about the GOAT debate, it may be a little bit different.
Well, my criteria is similar to yours. Winning
isn't at the top of my list. Here's the difference. And
I'm just naming my criteria. I don't have a specific order.
I do. That's the thing. That's the thing, BD. I do. My criteria is number one, is your game timeless? Number two, did you dominate? Now your game can't be timeless and dominate without winning. So number three, did you win? Number four, how transcendent is your game? What I mean when I say that is, how impactful is your game? Do people look at your game and go, yo, this is how we're modeling our game. This is what we're doing with our game. This guy right here, who is the next one to have this kind of game? And then on number five, how impactful on society were you? When I come up with all of those guys, when I come up with those guidelines and that criteria, my top 10 players in NBA history are James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, and the Diesel.
Okay, well, if I had to go top 10, I'd probably go Jordan, LeBron, Chamberlain, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Steph, Olajuwon, Kareem,
There's no world, and there's nowhere in the world that I could ever put Steph Curry ahead of Olajuwon. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you talk about impact. All the kids out here want to be Steph.
Yeah.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about impact and changing the game. The NBA has clearly changed because of Steph Curry. LeBron, as great as LeBron is, he didn't change the game how the game is played. Steph Curry has changed completely how the game is played.
And I can counter that with the word got out that Olajuwon was teaching footwork. And the line was around the corner.
Oh yeah, he's still teaching footwork now at 61 years old.
And the line is around the corner.
Yeah, Olajuwon was a monster.
Yes, sir.
And that's why he's in my top 10.
I would love to talk to you all day about this, but I got to move on, my man. But I appreciate talking to you. Absolutely, brother. No doubt. That's good stuff. What up? What up?
Hey, chill. I can't even hear you, man. I'm going to have to log back in and get back in.
No problem. I'll wait on you. Yep, I'll wait on you. What up?
Hello.
What up?
Hello.
What up?
So yeah, I do agree with you about the whole thing. Like, you know, every player has their strengths and weaknesses. So who do you think it does better shots?
Who do I think does better shots? What does that mean?
Who has better accuracies, better?
Steph Curry's the best shooter that I've ever seen. He's the best shooter that I've ever seen.
But and I do have another thing. And nothing. And I'll make this quick. Is it cool if I could, you know, draw you as a sign of my appreciation?
I mean, I'm right here, so that's up to you. I can't yes or no that. That's up to you if you're gonna do it or not. So
that's fair.
Yep. All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
You got it.
What up?
Yo, what up, Chill?
What's up, brother?
What's up? What's up? So, I think the Michael Jordan's 10 scoring titles is more impressive. And the first reason I only have two reasons. The first reason is because I feel like it was more impossible. It's more impossible for someone to have had 10 scoring titles than to have scored 40,000 points. I think like Kareem, I think his last season he averaged like 10 points. So if he would have played like two more seasons, he could have got to 40,000, and that's reasonable. That's not like something that's crazy for someone even at his age to average 10 points a game.
He was 42 years old. He retired.
Yeah, so you don't think he could have averaged at least 10 points a game? So what about? I mean, you 10 points. You don't think he could have did that?
No, the decline with Jabbar, even at that point, was obvious. Now I'm asking him to play 2 more years and still give me what he gave me 2 years ago. No.
Okay. Well, even then, I think it would have been harder for someone to get 10. I think Wilt had 7, and I think it would have been impossible for him to get scoring titles at that age because he wouldn't have been a great scorer later in his career. And then the second reason why I think Jordan's is more impressive is because, like, if we talk about football, who do you think had the greatest wide receiver season of all time as a receiver?
The greatest wide receiver season?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Jerry Rice in '88.
Okay, so I would say Cooper Kupp recently had the greatest wide receiver season of all time. He won the Triple Crown. I think he broke the receiving record, and he won Super Bowl MVP.
Sure.
If Cooper Kupp had did that 6 times, as great as Jerry Rice stats are, it's no way I could say that Jerry Rice would be greater than Cooper Kupp if Cooper Kupp had did that 6 times. And so with Jordan, you could say he had the top 6 scoring seasons of all times. I mean, he won the scoring titles, and he also won the NBA championship.
I ain't even talking about that. I don't care about the postseason. That stuff that we talking about a guy in the regular season averaging as many points as he averaged. I don't care about what he did in the postseason and how many points he averaged. I don't care about that.
Well, the only reason why I bring it up is because most times when people win the scoring title, most of the time they don't win the championship, and so it's like a narrative that you can't score that many points.
Oh, that was a huge knock on Jordan. 100%. That was a huge knock on Jordan. Yes,
even though he toned it down, he still kind of said, "Well, forget that. I'm going to still score points, and I'm going to win." which is
Yes.
why that was, even though it's irrelevant, it means something to me because Jordan's when he won the scoring titles, it wasn't like he was sacrificing anything to win those scoring titles.
Well, he
He was
was. He was sacked just because he was still scoring at a high rate. He was getting off the ball. It wasn't like
right,
he was. It wasn't like he was doing what he was doing in 87, where he was averaging 24, 25 shots a game. Like he did get off the ball, and he
right,
had to get off the ball off the strength of what the offense was. Now, in order for them to win, he did have to sacrifice. It wasn't like he was still playing his game. No, he did have to get off the ball more, which would explain why they started winning more, which would explain
yeah,
why Scottie Pippen turned into what he turned into, which would explain why the rest of those guys turned into what they turned into, because they had to do more in order for them to win. We can't just have a guy averaging 35 a game, 37 a game, and us winning. That's not going to happen. And he knew that.
right. I mean, I didn't mean so. I meant like he didn't sabotage the team in any way. Like, and that
Right.
seems like that would be like every guy in the NBA's dream to be able to still play your game, score that many points,
Yep.
but it's not going to kill your team. So that's why I feel like winning the scoring titles, only because of, like I said, the championships and all that, is because he was able to win the scoring titles, while also not hurting his team in any way.
Well, the thing that we talk about when we talk about a guy not hurting his team, I mean, they had to get acclimated to him
Mhm.
100%, and he had to get acclimated to trusting them more, because if he didn't, they would still be losing, because he had to play at a different level. What I mean when I say he had to play at a different level, with me having to change my game to get Paxson, to get BJ Armstrong, to get Scottie Pippen, to get Bill Cartwright, who, when they started the offense started with throwing the ball in the post to Bill Cartwright to get him going. And we get him going. Now he rebounds more. He gets out on the open floor more. So I think Jordan did sacrifice his game a little bit more than you give him credit for, but he still played his game within the system of the triangle. That's what he did more than anything. It wasn't just him being a complete and utter ball hog.
Right, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I
Yep.
mean, both are impressive. I mean, I think somebody's going to score 40,000 points though quicker than somebody to get 10 scoring titles.
The reason why I have a problem with that is off the strength that you have to do that for a long time. Now,
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
get
I
me
think
wrong.
I think I got Tatum might can do it too. I think the
No,
way the way he keeps
I
himself in
don't think he's
shape.
going to play that long. I don't think he's
You
going to
don't
play
think
that
the
long.
way he keeps himself in shape? I
Yeah,
think Tatum is one of the players that is in the best shape in the whole NBA.
100%. I can't see Tatum playing 22, 23 years though. I can't see that. No.
Oh wow.
I don't think he wants to play that long, if I'm being honest with you. Because a lot of these guys, they make so much money, right? I feel like they make so much money that because they make so much money that the game isn't as important as it is to guys like what it was to James. Like, I'm still trying to figure out why James still here now. Like, what is he still doing here? Like, what else is there for you to do? But I think that I'm on record saying I think that after that, I wouldn't be surprised if he hung him up after the season. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Tatum will get close to it because I think he's already had success early. His
Yep.
favorite player is Kobe. I think he's going to be one of those guys that tries to chase greatness because he's already achieved it so early. So can't wait to see how that goes down.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, man.
Yes,
You have a
sir.
good one.
Yep. What up?
Hello, can you hear me, Chill?
What up?
Chill, why is it that when it comes to the criteria of GOAT players, like you just said your criteria, why isn't that Bill Russell isn't the greatest of all time though? Because he has he checks off everything, everything that James checks off
He
and
didn't do it
everything
long
that Jordan
enough.
checks off.
He didn't do it long enough though. He played 13 years.
And but don't you think in those 13 years he accomplished more than James and Jordan?
Just the championships? Is that
Hello?
all we doing? Because that's all it is. If we're being honest, it's the
Well,
championships.
it's not just that. It's also the fact that the MVPs as well. I think he if it wasn't for the fact that the depoy didn't exist back then, he'd be the guy that owns the most depoys of all time.
I wouldn't argue that. I think Chamberlain would have had something to say about that too. I don't think that he would have won all of them. I think Chamberlain would have definitely. I mean, Chamberlain made the All-League defensive team, I think twice or three times, something like that, and he was late in his career when he did it. So I think he would have definitely chased being the defensive player of the year more than once, more than twice.
The counter I would have to that is like Chamberlain would have better statistical seasons than Bill Russell, but they'd still give him the MVP. Like when he averaged 50, chill, they gave Bill Russell the MVP that year.
Yes, they did.
So there was a lot of favoritism, particularly to Bill Russell than to Chamberlain. That's why I think he'd own more depoys than Chamberlain. Chamberlain might have like 1 or 2, but like Bill Russell might end up having like 5 or 6 even. You see what I'm saying? Like, because he was truly the anchor of that defense.
And so was Chamberlain.
Like he was ahead of his time.
But what you're telling me is he didn't deserve them. It was just because people favored him over Chamberlain.
No, he did.
100%. So you think he deserved it in when he averaged 18
he was more valuable.
20?
He was more valuable to his team's success more so than Chamberlain was.
No, I'm not buying that. I'm definitely not buying.
You don't think so, Chill? They had the worst offense in the league.
Who had the worst offense in the league?
The Celtics. They had the worst offense in the league.
They played with one of the slowest paces in the league. That's number one.
But they also had one of the worst offenses in the game as well.
And Bill Russell sped them up.
Right. Bill Russell sped that offense up.
Yeah, he sped them up. Okay, sure, I can get with that. But with that being said, thinking about what Chamberlain did for his crew, and not only what he did for his crew, when he changed his game. I mean, to give the league MVP to Bill Russell in 62 off the strength that how good that team was, I won't argue that. And the fact that there's other guys in the league who definitely had a legit case, like Elgin Baylor. I mean, the fact that
didn't Elgin Baylor average like almost 40 and 20 or something crazy like that?
Absolutely. And the Lakers are at the top of the Western Conference. But this goes back to your logic about him being a favorite and people loving Bill Russell like that. So I can't have you loving Bill Russell, right? I can't have you loving him, but he wasn't as good and he ended up winning these awards, but he wasn't better at that point. Now, was he more valuable? When I think about when I think about Bill Russell, was he more valuable than Chamberlain?
Oh, for sure. On the defensive end, absolutely. He anchored that. He was the defense. He was the interior defense of that team. He was 100%. I think he was the best. If he wasn't the best rebounder of his decade, he was the second best rebounder of his decade, right behind Chamberlain.
Chamberlain was the best rebounder.
He was the best rebounder of that decade. Chamberlain was the best rebounder of that decade for sure.
Yeah,
but
and it's not close.
Then again, also, Chill, I could say that was also a detriment to Chamberlain's career. The fact that he basically was the offense of his team. I mean, to score 50 points, Chill, that's a lot of shots.
He actually didn't take that many shots. He was only averaging like 20-something shots a game.
Like that, like he basically was the offense of his team. He was
leading the league. He was leading the league in field goal percentage. I think he led the league in field goal percentage 10 of the 14 years he played.
70%, like it was 70% or something insane like that.
Yes.
I still think, me personally, I think Bill Russell is the best player of that decade. Of that 60s decade, I personally think it's Bill Russell. I think he was more impactful on his team to winning championships than like Chamberlain was or Elgin Baylor was, which is why I think he should be in GOAT conversations. Because if the main argument that I hear for Jordan is 6 championships, like finals MVPs and MVPs and all that, and it's like Bill Russell has all the categories of that as well. And the main argument for James, as far as I'm concerned, is the longevity, which is the whole 22 years, right? So, I mean, 13 years, that's still a long time in the NBA. And to do what I would say almost equal amount to what James has done in almost half the time, I think that goes along to why I think Bill Russell should be in GOAT conversations.
So how many MVPs does Bill Russell have? 5?
5. He has 5.
Yeah, he's got 5. James in 13 years, he's had 4. Scored more points. Russell has more rebounds. He won more championships. James in 13 years, he had won 3 championships. To Russell.
Be fair, James didn't really have a good team like the beginning of his, like those beginning years in Cleveland. He did not, like, there was no shot for him to win a championship.
No, he didn't.
To be fair.
He didn't. No, he did not. So
true.
Fair enough. All right, brother.
All right, Chill. You have a good one.
Yep, good to talk to you, brother. No doubt. So, my man, what up?
What up, Chill?
What's up, brother? What's going on with you? I ain't talked to you in a minute. How you been?
I'm doing all right. I just wanted to get to your point of when you talked about Jordan or LeBron, and I think if you're gonna strip it all out, I think now for me it's a hard one because I think they're equally as impressive with each other simply because I think the 10 scoring titles, especially when you look at the era that he played in and the kind of dynamics that were going on in the league, when you're having a scoring title as a guard in a big man era, I think that's where it becomes super impressive. Where basically the next best players are all big men that are from your generation, and you're scoring outside the perimeter, and you're scoring around about 50%.
More physical league too, by the way. More physical.
A more physical and a slower league, especially in the 90s. So you have 10 scoring titles, and you equate it to winning. So with Jordan, he's one of the few players that scored at that such a clip to where, okay, they're actually going to win. You can see with certain players when they start to score more that their team success is detrimentally affected. And I even put LeBron James in that. You look at LeBron James' best scoring seasons, their teams wasn't that good. That for me personally, I feel like with LeBron is like he scales up better if he's 27, 8 and 8. Yep. If he's 35, 9 and 10, the team's not going to win. That is how it is. But I think the thing with LeBron James's scoring title is that if LeBron James was averaging 10, 5 and 5 in his last couple of seasons, then I'd be like, okay, Jordan's one's a lot more impressive. I think it's only slightly. But the fact that LeBron James has averaged 25 points for 21 seasons in a row and has never averaged less than 20 in his entire career, which is 22 years. Like when you're talking about Kareem really started declining for 1984, to be honest.
85, around 85, 86, that's when he started to go the other way.
Yeah, and that's when Magic starts to take over the team. So you can see that clear decline in his scoring coming basically half of the decade of the 80s. So that's where you can really say, okay, Kareem's scoring title is impressive. And obviously nobody thought he was going to break Wilt's record. That was fine. I think the fact that LeBron James has scored 20, and I think people don't understand how difficult that is. Like I think people think, oh, it's easy. I think it's partly because it's him. But if you actually look at what a generation is, people say, oh, he's the best player of his generation. Oh, he played what? Jordan played what? 15 years? That's not a generation. That's not a generation. 15 years is not a generation. A generation is about 25 years. So LeBron James has played around about 80% of an actual real life human generation and has, for that entire time, he's seen kids go through school and potentially have children. His own son has gone through school and is playing next to him in that amount of time that he's averaged amount of these points and got to 40,000. There's a reason why it's so difficult. The 10 scoring titles will never be broken because it's just not, the scoring is so high and depending on I also think players are not as concerned with a scoring title as much as they was then.
Yeah.
And I think, not to say it's easier to score then, but I think now because of the rate of volume of 3-point shots, it's going to be very hard for a player to basically consistently get a scoring title because if they get a hot season from 3, you're not going to outscore them. Like it doesn't matter how inefficient their season is. It's going to be real difficult to kind of outscore that player. But I think
when have we had a guy lead the league in scoring that many times? I think Joel Embiid did it. I think he did it twice.
Joel Embiid twice.
Yeah, I think Joel Embiid. But other than that, I mean, Kevin Durant was the most recent guy. I think he did it 4 times.
Yeah.
But other than that, we haven't seen anybody consistently doing it. I mean, I think since Joel Embiid led the league in scoring, then he got hurt. Then he led the league in scoring. I think the year before that, and he won the league MVP. So we've seen him do it, meaning more than once, but to do it year after year after year, where it becomes now, this guy, we kind of figure out that this guy is going to be the league leading scorer, right? Yeah. So when we see this guy as the league leading scorer, we can talk about other stuff now, like who's going to lead the league in rebounding, who's going to lead the league in blocks, stuff like that. We already know who's going to lead the league in scoring. It's going to be this guy. I'm not sure we're going to see that. I'm not sure we're going to see that again.
Because if you look at the league leading scorers, like the scoring title, sorry, my bad.
Sure.
It goes 10 to Jordan, 7 to Wilt,
yep.
4 for George Gavin, 4 for Kevin Durant, 3 for Harden, 3 for Allen Iverson, and then it basically gets 2 for Kobe, Tracy McGrady. So you're not looking at people getting close to this record of somebody scoring this amount of points. because Jordan is the most prolific scorer in the history of basketball. However, I will give it one caveat with this. I think it's an interesting one. Despite that, and despite LeBron James playing 22 years, it's only 3 points difference. It's not as big as people would think that scoring gap. Now, 3 points is a lot of points. I'm not disputing that. That's basically a possession. Sure. But what I'm saying to you is that it's implied that if somebody is averaging, remember, it's not like LeBron James dropped to 20 points per game. If you look at all of these guys who played 19 seasons, their scoring averages got completely messed up.
See, Mario, that's where that's why I sway toward James, because there was no gap. There was no drop off. I did this from the minute I walked in the door to today. I'm still doing it.
Oh, walking out, yeah.
And I'm still doing it at that level. That's why I sway to James, off the strength that I didn't quit. I didn't have a drop off. I'm still doing it. That's why that feat, for me, I think it's ridiculous. And I don't think it's something that's ever going to be seen again.
No. It's never going to be seen again. It's kind of like Bernard Hopkins at his point of his career when he was fighting. He was 44 when he won the world title. Like it's to say that you take it for granted because most people have seen it for half of their life, but you're not going to see that again. To have a guy to average
life, that's crazy, man.
Your entire life, you're never going to see that again. Same with Jordan. You're never going to see a guy average 10 scoring title. You're never going to see a guy average, maybe, actually, I don't even know if KD, because KD's missed season, consecutively for 21 years, see a guy average 25 points per game. And on high efficiency. It's not like he's just chucking up shots. It's
no, that's not going on. No, that's not going on.
It's high efficiency. And he was had one of his most efficient seasons last year. So it's not like he's losing the ability to score. And that starts to open up questions of, if he really wanted to score, how much could he have scored in that sense over those years? Because he could have really amped up his scoring depending on what his personality. So I think that's where it becomes a more of a conversation that people want to have it. It's the fact that, yes, Jordan did it for 10 straight seasons of basically being the leading scoring. Every season Jordan was available to play from 1988. Was it 1988, his first scoring title?
His first scoring title, no, it's 87, 86, 87. He averaged 37 a game that year.
86, 87, all the way to 97, 98. Jordan led the league in scoring every available season he played.
Yep.
LeBron James, since 2004, has scored 25 points for 22 consecutive seasons.
That's incredible.
Feats that are going to be broken. I don't know which one is more impressive. I think it ultimately comes down to which one you prefer. I think it becomes that question. You say the idolaters of Jordan and LeBron. I think it becomes down to which one you prefer and which one you value. Yeah. Because if you say to me, oh, it's just a longevity stat, look at every one of your favorite players. And I know a lot of people's favorite players is Kobe Bryant. When he got to year 18, it was over. Kevin Garnett.
When the Achilles went, then the knee went. When the knee went, then the shoulder went. Then he started breaking down even more.
Exactly. And that was it. It was 27 was his last great season. 2013 was his last great season. He didn't even make it to 20 years. And that's not a slight at him, but also the gap as well is very different. Kobe's first 3 seasons wasn't the Kobe Bryant that we remember, and the last 3 seasons wasn't good. So you're talking about basically he played 21 seasons, Kobe 20 seasons? 20 seasons. So you're talking about 16 great seasons. This is 22. 22 from 16 is a big gap. That's a career. Some people only play 6 years. So I think you're looking at, and also with Kobe's injuries, his also scoring average went down as well. Like he went down from, I think, around about 27, 25. So we're having a different conversation. But the fact that LeBron James is also third all time. Wait, is it him? Fourth. I think it goes Jordan, Wilt, Elgin Baylor, KD, so top 5 in scoring average. Mm-hmm. So he's the #1 all-time scorer. He's also number 5 in scoring average.
Top 5 all-time in score.
It's not like he's just the way people talk about LeBron's longevity is he's like he's just out there, just communicating points and just getting putbacks and layups. He's scoring at such a high clip at this point. It's hard not to maybe slightly give him the edge. But those 10 scoring titles,
that's impressive, man. It is. I won't argue with Mario. I don't think so. So, Mario, it's good to talk to you, brother. I'll see you soon. Absolutely. Peace, God.
Peace, chill. What's good, brother?
What's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. There's so much I can say, but I'm going to stick to what we do best, which is showing how great LeBron James is.
The
First,
zesties are necessary, brother. This is why the zesties are necessary, my
they're
man.
not necessary. Their opinions, their thoughts. You heard what these guys were saying. I think, or how I feel. Nobody cares, brother. I told you a long time ago. I'm not here to tell you what I feel, what I think. I'm gonna tell you what I know.
Check your feelings at the door. We talk facts around here.
Exactly. 40K, 40,000 points will be untouched. So will be 10 scoring titles. Okay. No one will ever reach 10 scoring titles as well. The difference is that it is easier to reach 10 scoring titles because all you have to do is have the desire to shoot the ball a lot. 75% of scoring title winners are actual guys who led the league in shot attempts. So if you want to lead the league in scoring titles, which is why Wilt Chamberlain and Jordan are number one, that's what they wanted to do. And in reality, Wilt Chamberlain would have 14 scoring titles if he wanted it. He just stopped.
He could have led the league in scoring every year. He could have done that.
He just stopped. He just said, I'll do other things. I'll go get assist titles. I'll go get, like you said, he led the league in field goal percentage. You see what I'm saying? So, but the thing about Michael Jordan's 10 scoring titles, he wanted to score. He wanted to have scoring titles. Then this notion about the winning is attached to scoring titles. And I agree with you. Regular season has nothing to do with the playoffs. Michael Jordan's 10 scoring titles have nothing to do with the 6 championships the Chicago Bulls won. Those are two separate categories. But since they want to attach championships to scoring titles, we can do the same for GOAT, right? Not only does he have 40,000 points in 21 seasons, right? He has 4 NBA championships, which are the most in his era. He has the most conference titles in NBA history. He has the most playoff wins in NBA history. He has the most playoff series wins in NBA history. He's been to the playoff 17 times. So his 40K comes with winning. And he did it on 3 separate franchises.
These how many guys can say they did that?
0.
These many guys right here. I want to make sure that you guys see the camera. These how many guys have done that before he did it and since he did it.
And let's just give him another caveat because this is what we do best is GOAT James Kingdom. Y'all make sure to like it, subscribe it. We do it best here. Not only did he give you the 40K points, he gave you 11,000 assists. So he handed you another 20 to 30,000 points on top of it.
I'm sorry, keep going, yo. This is goofy. I'm sorry, Coach. This is dumb. Like,
no, I mean, but you know,
this is dumb, yo. What's happening right now?
You entertained these SD Jeffries long enough. I'm glad you brought me up. I appreciate it. Cause I could have went in on a lot of other stuff that I was hearing, but we're just gonna stick to the topic of the show, which you're doing a great job.
20,000 points that I assisted on. What we doing, man? What's happening right now? Am I losing my mind?
Thank you. With the efficiency on top of that, let's not forget the efficiency, and then let's get to this thing about the averages. Okay, yeah, LeBron James is what 27 points per game, but nobody in NBA history who played over 1,200 games is anywhere near that.
Nobody.
So there's no player in NBA history that you're gonna bring up, including Jason Tatum, which I heard that name was brought up, is going to average 27 points per game for 1,500 games. See, that's what people don't get. When you talk about the averages, you have to tell the amount of games played. If somebody tells you a guy averaged 16 and another guy averaged 20, well, I need to know how many games were played. If one guy played 1,200 games at 16 points per game and another guy played 500 games at 20 points per game, that makes a very big difference.
Fact.
Right?
Yes,
so 1,500 games played. He's only 10 games away from it. So he's still going to be at 27 points per game when he gets 1,500 games played. There's not a player in NBA history. I don't even think after 1150 that has over 25 points per game.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know it, but this is what he specializes in. He does this on Friday nights and Sunday. Friday nights, 8 o'clock on YouTube. And he does this on Sunday at 12 o'clock Eastern on YouTube at Go James Kingdom. If you're looking for him, he ain't hard to find. So
and none of this was my feelings. Even though I'm chilling. There's a storm, brother. How you doing? You good with the storm? Everything's good on your end?
Yes, I am. That's on the other side of the state. I'm good.
All right, I'm in South Florida as well. Anyways, brother, there's going to be a statue for Dwayne Wade, and I expect to see you somewhere in the vicinity on Biscayne Boulevard.
I might have to. I think I'm going to be down there for that. Yes.
Yes, yeah. we need to see you down here, man. Again, your Miami Heat card is still available.
Hey, good to talk to you, Jay. You know where to find me at, brother. Out. What up?
What's the word, Chill?
What's up, brother?
Hey, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not just to be transparent, the biggest Braun fan, but whoever thinks that there's gonna be another Braun is just delusional. Um, I don't even want to talk numbers with you, right? Let's just talk about the logistics and things. Is it fair to say, just to be in the GOAT conversation, that just give you these criteria? Let me know if this is fair or not. Longevity, luck, and work ethic. Would you say that especially work ethic is something that, regardless of the sport, is a trait that every person in the GOAT conversation has?
Absolutely. Every last one of them has that.
Okay. See, I want to read. If y'all missed it, Chill had Hardaway, did an interview with him a few hours ago. Fantastic interview. Hardaway brought up a great point about this new generation. AAU is really ruining a lot of players, especially in trajectory. And this is where I want to come from. A lot of players nowadays, they're given things. The route to get to where they want to get to is different, and I don't think they have the hunger that a 17, 16-year-old kid out of Akron or out of Philadelphia came up, didn't have much, and when coming into the league had to prove themselves. Now, I know a lot of these guys have better training now, diet, skill set, but a lot of these guys don't have that trait of either it's that hunger or it's that work ethic. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he got that dog in him, but I don't think he has, I don't want to say the discipline, but I don't think he has that Kobe, LeBron, I'm going to do this for 20 years and be this guy. I mean, before even getting drafted, he was talking about playing football and rapping. Like, this never came out of Bron and Kobe's and these guys. You know, it's a different mindset in today's generation. And I hate to sound old because I'm 28, but this, like, I don't think that they had that factor in them. And most importantly, like I said, longevity, but that comes with luck. You know, Bron, 20 plus years, he's had maybe one serious injury. That was the first year in LA. Kobe with the Achilles. Like, that's a big factor, you know what I mean? And let me ask you this. Vince Carter is a guy who a lot of people, and even your kinfolk Shaq, those are two guys that have even came out and said that they have the skill set, they have the talent, but people have questioned their work ethic. Do you think that those two, if they had that work ethic trait, would be? I think Shaq is already in the GOAT conversation.
Shaq should have shut the GOAT debate down, if I'm being honest with you, BD. It should have ended with Shaq.
My point.
If I'm being honest with you, and since we being honest, and I actually said that, and I'm on record saying that, and I've never said anything to my cousin behind his back that I didn't say to his face, and I said that to him. The GOAT debate should have ended with you. It should have been you and then everybody else.
That's my point. What about Vince Carter? Do you think people take that overboard, or because people say that he should have been in that same group with Jordan, with Kobe? Because I mean, Phil Jackson came out, said the same thing. You know, they match athleticism wise, potential, but you know, he developed his jump shot later on in his career. You know, I mean, do you see that in Vince Carter as well?
I think Vince had all the tools, but I think Kobe maximized everything that was necessary in order to be who he was. I don't think I could say that about Vince. I don't think that I can say Vince maximized everything. I'm not going to say that he didn't play as hard, but I don't think he maximized going out saying that I'm going to be the best every night. I think Bryant did that.
Exactly. And that's my point to me, you know, calling in. I don't think a lot of these guys in this generation and going forward, there's a lot of temptations out there. A lot of these guys aren't hungry to want to be that. NIL is, you know, taking interest and hunger out of these guys. Those things matter. If you look at all these guys in the GOAT conversation, It's either having that chip on your shoulder, or it's either making the most out of your potential. I think that's the thing that we aren't looking at. And yes, it comes with luck and longevity, but
sure,
you know, I think that's a factor. But I know where to find you. Just want to
yes,
give you
sir.
my
You know
opinion.
where I'm at,
Appreciate
brother. Good to talk to you, no doubt. We are way over time. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was a really good conversation. I'm not really a big fan of the Jordan James debate because I think that everything that needs to be said or everything that can be said has already been said, and I think it's kind of beating a dead horse. You're either a Jordan or a James guy. Excuse me, that's it. And it becomes corny after a while. But I thought this was a really interesting conversation. And turns out it was. But that's my time. It was good to see you guys tonight. You know where to find me. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok, 9 a.m. every morning, Monday to Friday. If I'm not there, you can find me on the panel from 11 to 2. If I'm not there, you can find me weeknights right here on Chilltown Hoops. If I'm not here, I'm with my man Tony Tone. And if I'm not there, you can find me on Saturday afternoons with my man Big Ox on Chill with Chill on the Players Choice Network. So I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Last time you talked to your mother, call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. I did.